Let's cross live now to Kwara community in Kaiama local government area, Kwara State, where our Chief Correspondent Tokumbo Yetunde joins us to bring us updates. Tokumbo, say thank you very much. Yes, you were on the morning show to give us some updates, and you said that there are people that are just trying to trickle in to probably see what they can salvage. Talk to us. What's the latest on ground right now, and especially with the military formation that should be assembling in the local government?
Aaron, thank you very much. We're still here at Kwara, Kaiama local government. I mean, the situation remains pretty the same, but what has changed? I mean, let's start with the community members, some of them who are just by my right side here, sitting around, I mean, still trying to come to real terms with the situation here. Right behind them is one burnt shop where right there are corpses of a baby and somebody who had was his uncle. They were in that shop, you know, taking refuge when the attack happened, but they were attacked right there, they were burnt right there, and their corpses still remain there. So search for bodies, you know, still continues like we reported much earlier in the day. But as regards the reinforcement of security here, we reported earlier that a few meters away from where we're standing, just down the road as you come into the community, you saw the personnel of the Nigerian military and a few other personnel of the police, I think the mobile police and the regular policemen. We've seen them too stationed there and patrolling across the length and breadth of this sleepy town that is in deep mourning, Aaron. But a few minutes ago, just like 25 minutes ago, the brigade commander of the Shobi barracks right here in Ilori actually came in here with a few top military personnel to actually give some kind of moral support to the men on ground here. And in our brief interaction with them, it was he told us that they are here to ensure that everything, you know, that every measure that they take as security personnel is going the way planned, to check who comes in and who goes out of this community. Is still around, and we're hoping to get a few more words from him to brief us on what the security situation update is as regards the situation here, Aaron. That is what we can report for now. I have my colleague Oluseyi Da Silva. He's been here. I mean, he actually arrived here a few hours after that horror on this community took place, and he's been crisscrossing the length and breadth of this community and even neighboring communities to see what is going on. Da Silva, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, it's been quite some time for you since Wednesday morning that you came into this community. You know, I mean, we saw some horrible things, you know, too gory to actually describe. So, you know, just a few meters away from where we're standing, where people were gathered together, killed, you know, at a very horrible manner. But their blood still flowing on, though it's, I mean, it's becoming so dried up now, but their personal effects, shoes, cabs, and other personal effects all litter the ground there. What other thing do we know as regards how this actually happened? Da Silva.
It is actually a very gory situation. I've tried to remain in mind, not to break down in tears, because
I mean, you can't break down. You've got to report this.
Very tense here. The whole place is deserted, and those who are here, I can tell you, they are people who are homeless and hopeless. They don't have other places to go.
But those who have places to go have actually moved out, and we even saw some actually as we arrived there earlier today. We saw them actually moving out of here.
There's the pathetic situation of a man that I saw here, Yusuf. The man said all his children have been regathered and he has sent them back to his village, but his 13-year-old daughter is the one keeping him here. Yusuf said he is not going to live here until he sees that daughter. That means he will remain here no matter what happens.
I mean, talking about the agony of a father.
The agony of a father.
I mean, we see
one child.
We see so many other residents who are lamenting, who don't even know the next step to take. I mean, just down behind us there, we had the story of a very elderly woman who is the only one person remaining in the entire building after every other person occupying that building, you know, had succumbed to the horror of this attack. It's very horrible. I mean, we have one of the.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Cynthia.
It's indeed a very gory and horrible situation, and it's clear that it's affected those that had the misfortune of witnessing this. But I'd like for, if you can, to talk about anything that has changed in terms of response to what we've seen in Kwara State recently. We've seen numerous attacks, but is anything giving you a sense that this will not happen again? Are you getting a sense from what the reaction that you've got from the security forces that this will be prevented and will not have another situation of condemnations and commiserations?
Cynthia, I understand your point perfectly well, and it's a very huge concern for everybody around here. I can tell you that some of the community members here, excuse me, looking at some of the, of course, they appreciate the fact that the security personnel are on ground here, but some of them will have actually wanted the situation where this horror perpetrated on them will have been prevented, rather than coming for these condolence, commiseration, and all that. It's still very early for us now to say or to suggest that this will not happen again. But if the response we're getting from the higher authorities, from the presidency, the governor of the state, and even the military personnel, the top hierarchy or the topmost hierarchy of the military personnel in the state here, is anything to go by, well, I mean, we may say there are moves, there are measures being taken to ensure that, I mean, this kind of horror will be prevented going further. Because, I mean, our interaction with the community head here shows that this is just like a message to other communities around that are not, listening to the hardline preaching of the sect that is responsible for this. So, I mean, every move that needs to be taken, we have to be, so that we ensure that this does not happen again. So we just hope all the moves that the authorities are making will actually lead to the prevention, rather than paying these condolence visits and these visits of assessing the damage and checking on searching for bodies and lost property. Before we come back to you, Cynthia, there is a community member here actually that has been waiting. I mean, he's got a lot to tell us about what he witnessed and how the entire community has been coping with this. Thank you very much for joining us on this live telecast. What's your name, please?
My name is Yusuf Issa.
Yusuf Issa, you are a resident in this community.
Yes, I'm a resident here. I work as a community health worker.
Okay.
This is my shop beside me.
Okay.
Immediately, this incident happened as early as 5:17 p.m. in the evening.
And
I was coming from my farm when I'm leaving. I just had a gunshot, and the first thing I did, I have my local government DPO's number with me, and it's the first person I call. They are now called the villager that what is going on. This is the villager that's already told me that he has reported to the other security agencies. Maybe the measure will be taken. Before I know, it's either gunshot. Even in my residence nearby my house, they even pursued somebody to the extent that he wanted to enter my house. But fortunately, my gate was locked. Instantly, my gates there, they shoot him down there. I took this machine. The machine is with me now, and I can't even identify the dead body.
Now, as we speak, I mean, you as a community people, you're learning to cope with this situation. Where is your family as we speak now?
My family, even is a child on my field. I put my entire family to my in-laws residence at New Busa, Niger State, which we didn't even do our culture, but there is no means of living.
And yourself, you don't stay in this community anymore.
I don't stay in the community. I'm staying with my in-laws. It's a child for us in our own tradition to stay with our in-laws, but there's no alternative. I'm staying with my wife, with my in-laws. in the same house, in the same residence at New Busa.
Now,
even my brother was killed here. He's also a community health worker working at the health facility in charge of Waro Health Community. He was killed. His machine was taken away. He's having a Corolla S, which was taken away.
It's among those who have been buried.
Yes, among those that are buried. Before we left that, we buried about 127 corpses in my own presence before I took my brother's senior wife with my own wife to New Busa.
And we learned that children and women were taken away by the attackers. It's not even almost.
We have contacted our brothers, we have missing 13 married women now, excluding children, the undergoing girls, and the married one are 13.
Has there been any word from the
There's no any word. They don't speak to anybody. They don't call anybody.
So you don't know the fate of those people who have been taken away.
They use those vehicles to convey them to the bush. We don't have any outcome. We don't hear anything from them since the day before yesterday.
Thank you very much for telling us your experience in this whole attack. Thank you very much. We'll be following up with you. I mean, that's a community member, telling us his experience. It's that what he said, I mean, mirrors what goes on in the minds of majority of the people who are still remaining here. Some, they come back because, I mean, like the case of the man that my colleague talked about, Malam Isa Pango. I mean, he's only here because his daughter is among those taken away by those abductors, the attackers. And the moment he's able to hear news or even lay his hands on his daughter, he's going to leave this community. I mean, that is the situation here. Aaron and Cynthia.
Well, this is rather sad, and let's try to be futuristic about this. A lot of people have given it a political dimension. What is being done to restore normalcy? Because earlier in the day, you said something about the fact that basic amenities, you spoke about lights, you spoke about communication were being severely impacted. What's being done to ensure that the people are being looked after from the angle of restoring basic amenities back to the community that will open up the community to have people feel safe enough to come back and begin to go on about their daily lives again?
I mean, you see, when you come into a community like this, you find a very resilient people, no doubt about that. I mean, despite the fact that that horror took place here and the community is like a ghost town now, we still see a lot, some commercial activities taking place. Some people who are still very strong-willed enough to say, no, you have done your worst. We are here to show that we are members of this community and we'll still continue to do we'll still continue to live our lives. I mean, their business activity. I mean, we've seen trucks. The people here are predominantly farmers. They grow soybeans and other farm produce like that. I mean, we've seen trucks moving out of here. But some, at the same time, are still, quite understandably, the psychological effect of such an attack, such a horrible attack on a people like this would be there, and it's there quite fine. But we still have some resilient people who are saying we'll remain here and we'll carry out our business. But as regards what the government is doing to actually provide some sort of support for the people, the Kwara State government, I mean, you opened this conversation with the track up of the Kwara State Governor, Abdurrahman Abdurazak. I mean, we heard from him and his team about the support that they are giving through the State Emergency Support Agency to actually find out how the state can support the people, can help them go through these with some sort of succor. But we really don't know, because how many people are here? We have not seen any of the officials here, though. We don't know whether they're on their way, whether they are making some other moves that are unknown to us as at this time. But we should think they are actually thinking seriously of how to support these people to go through this horror and come back to make life come back to normal for them. Because, like I reported, you referenced, I reported earlier in the day, public power supply, zero. connectivity, internet connectivity is zero. Even mobile phone connectivity, we're struggling to actually ensure that we're able to connect with you down there in the studio. So a whole lot needs to be done actually to support these people to make life come back to normalcy for them at this particular time, Aaron.
Indeed, Tokumbo, thank you for that update. I remember when you were talking to Da Silva, you mentioned that you had seen like those that like shoes and the likes, you know, in the area. I'm just wondering if you've got any information about any progress that might have been made by security agencies, whether it's any recovered weapons, potential arrests, maybe even escape routes. Anything at all, or is it just completely? Are they just completely silent at the moment?
It's near that. It's near complete silence. You know, at a time like this, the security people don't want to divulge much information. We're trying to actually talk to some of the top officials to find out if there has been any. I mean, we made some attempts earlier in the day, but we met some brick wall. But we know that they're trying their best. If you're talking about escape routes, somewhere here, behind this building here was the route that we learned the attackers actually passed through after a mosque that is just not too far away from here was used by their leaders. I mean, at about 2-3 a.m. when the attack had they were done with the attack, the leader of the attackers actually made like what is called a call to prayer in Islam. That was to signal the fact that the evil operation was over, and every of the attacker from everywhere they were, where they were carrying out the operation, they listened to him making that call to prayer, and they knew that that signaled the end of the prayer, the end of the operation, and they converged and passed through the bush path here. Behind these buildings that you see here is the path that actually leads right down into the forest. We gather that that's how they escaped with their bikes and the people that they abducted, you know, deep into the forest. So as regards any arrest, we don't have any information yet, and we're still going to be probing further, asking questions of the authorities to find out if there has been any.
I want to say many thanks to you, Tokumbo Yutunji, our senior correspondent there in Kwara State, reporting on the Kaiama killing.